The Cold War.
By Emma in Georgia.
The Cold War was a harsh war between what were once allies that turned into enemies. The Cold War was between the U.S. and the USSR. These two countries were allies in World War II.
The Cold War was fought on political and economical fronts rather than on military battlefields, even though the threat of war was always present.
The Iron Curtain was the conflict and physical boundary dividing Europe into two separate areas from the end of World War II in 1945 until the end of the Cold War in 1991.
Neither side ever fought the other. The consequences would be too harsh, but they did fight for their beliefs using client states who fought for their beliefs on their behalf.
There were many other events going on during the time of the Cold War. For example, the Korean War. The Cold War was only to be described as a political system for power.
The Cold War rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union lasted for much of the second half of the 20th century, resulted in mutual suspicions.
During the Cold War, America used Bears to test their ejector seats in supersonic jets.
East Germany divided Berlin with the Berlin Wall. The official purpose of the Berlin Wall was to keep Western people from entering East Germany. To this day, the Berlin Wall remains one of the most powerful and enduring symbols of the Cold War.
During the Cold War, the CIA launched Operation Kitty, in which cats were surgically implanted with bugging devices to eavesdrop on Soviet conversations.
At one point, the U.S. had more communists on its side than the USSR.
The Berlin blockade was basically a fight between the USSR and Berlin. Berlin was starting to collapse and Soviet Union wanted to take over all of Berlin.
USSR was disgusted on the behavior of how Berlin was not cooperating, so the USSR shut down all the railroads leaving Berlin. Thus, Berlin was starved. USA and Berlin sent aircrafts full of supplies and food. Thus started rivalry between USSR and USA.
The space race was a race between the U.S. and the Soviet Union to see who could explore space first.
Soviet Union launched first but was unsuccessful. The United States launched Apollo 11 and were successful.
The fall of the Soviet Union started by 11 Soviet republics: the Ukraine, the Russian Federation, Belarus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldavia, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan met in the Kazakh city of Alma-Ata and announced that they would no longer be a part of the Soviet Union. Thank you very much.